I'm Seamus. Thank you so much for coming.
You've got a great cause worth fighting for. I couldn't wait to get here. That said, I expected, well, more people?
So far, there's only the two of us.
But we're highly motivated.
Well, it's a start.
Some people I knew already were dear friends of mine, like Little Gray Cells and Just My Stupid Opinion.
Lots of interesting things. This is absolutely abominable, and the RCMP are really in the shit here, and they know it.
Hi, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here, but I think it's time that I needed to speak up.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Something you watch on TV, horror movie, you shut it off, you go to bed. We can't shut this off. Every time we close our eyes, the horror movie turns on. So I know for myself, when I close my eyes, go try to go to bed, picture my parents being shot.
Trying to piece together a story that seems so unbelievable.
Let's have a look at this. I'm going to pause it periodically, and I'm going to try and not lose my shit because I was really angry. Really angry. I'm getting really pissed now. I'll preface this by saying I'm strongly urging all of the victims in this, the victims' families, to launch a class action lawsuit against the RCMP. And I would just love to have the RCMP under discovery. I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure a lawyer would too.
Canadian Mounted Police and their stories. Stories of their courage. Stories of their lives filled with hazard, romance, and adventure. The RCMP story this week, Gunslinger.
Oh my goodness, how many windows do I have open? How many coffees do I have? 3, I think. Okay, good. Gotta have stock up, right? Had a great conversation with family members this morning, and wow, it's really great, and it was interesting. They're so kind, eh? They're like, I was mentioning something, and they said, if you have difficulty or you're having a problem or whatever, you just reach out, talk to me about it. I'm like, that's not the first time I've heard that either from different family members. I'm like, yeah. What do you say to that? I was just like, anyway. Okay. So let's say hello to everybody, of course. We've got Mark in here. Afternoon, Bush baby, saying hello to everybody. Deanna, Martel, hello, Nikki, Dan, Crystal with a smiley face. Beautiful day, says Nosy Scotian. Great. Good stuff. We've got Kendall in here. Time for interruptions. Lots of time. Fiona. Made it. No notification. Just keep checking in. That's what's working. Okay. Actually, I was looking at the analytics today, and I don't know if you want to make sure you. I don't really like talking self stuff, but if you want, you got to ding the bell. Apparently, not lots of people who are subscribed ding the bell. But it was curious. The view count, even though I know that that's garbage too, the view count is way higher than my subscription rate. So in 24 hours, I get more than my subscribers. So a lot of people are watching. I guess people just don't subscribe or I don't know what's going down there. Anyway, glad to have you on board, Fiona. Fiona. Mulligan. Fiona. All right, there we go. Okay, and we've got second coffee. Good stuff. We've begun on the liquid diet. Trish, Sunday's in here. Hola, says Linda. Caper, Granby, Apple, bonjour. I'm not a francophone. It was okay at French at one point, and then I think I had too many altercations. Then it was no good anymore. Okay, so what did we have here? Sorry, Fiona said something about second coffee. Oh, okay. Yes. Quadruples or 4x4s or whatever you have there is just ass. I don't know how you can drink that. No offense on anybody, but I'm not racist. I like it black. Now, Lisa Dean got the notification. Take care, everybody. Okay. Take care, everybody. Are you off? You off, Lisa? Not in the house? Linda, oh dear, can't stay. Maybe oh dear's out too. All right, but hello. Make sure you're checking out Oh Dear's channel. Still dropping those clips and bombs. And I had an unsub, then resub to get notifications. Okay, well, there you go. There's a tip for those of you who don't get the notifications. Maybe that works. I don't know. Check in. I got the tweeties. Lots of you have the tweeties. I try and drop it in the tweeties. Interruption of conversation with Tara. Oops, sorry about that. You know how sorry I am. Linda M. Linda Kelmish. I've seen Linda around for a long time in YouTube. Linda Kelmish, but I don't even know if I'm saying that right. How do you say that? Kelmish. Oops. 1 moment, please. Looks like somebody's over. Keep your coffee kosher. Smash. Okay, I can't say that. Tara's here. I can't highlight her comment because she's talking things that you can't talk about. Can't talk about self. Okay, Lisa stayed. Good. All right, so we just lost. Oh dear, we've got. I sense zero empathy in my voice. It's that monotone, you know. You can't ever tell what the hell's going on. Here, listening, try and jump in when I can. Okay. And I hope to that family member who I spoke to earlier today has having a good day at work. Wonderful speaking with you. And thank you for your very kind offer. I may take you up on it one day. Always good to have good advice and things, but I'm just trying to give everybody their space and stuff. And God only knows what you're going through. Now, we've got notifications coming in the next day. Been around a long time. You have been around a long time. That was fairly good. 2 thumbs. Oh, okay. Kelmish? It's hard. That one's a hard one. Mind you, anything probably that has syllables is hard. Listening, doing laundry, says Tara. Chores interact with chat. Uh-oh. God bless you all and the families, of course. Get notifications. Mossad calls you, says Todd with bagels. Now, I was digging around a little bit this morning. There's a few things I want to get to. And so I'm very slow getting to a lot of things because there's always lots of tasks to do. So I put in, hi, Cindy. Howdy. Please look in and check in on one another. Today, this week, may be especially hard for some of us. Cannot leave anyone behind. Okay. I maybe I'll send messages. I don't know. I feel terrible saying anything to anybody. Just what do you say? So I wanted to archive the articles that were written about the march and Bible Hill. And I think it's important to have I've laid some groundwork here. I think some people are getting kind of what I'm throwing down, maybe a little bit about the very concerted effort, the psychological warfare that's going on to get rid of the story. Okay. Obviously you have certain elements, but there's lots of components to it. And understanding that all of those components lead back to an apex, and that apex lies more than likely within our intelligence community, though people may think that is complete bunk. I would encourage anybody who believes that to go and study psychological warfare, media involvement with propaganda, government involvement with propaganda. The Wolves story obviously is one that many people down there understand, but is 100% legit. This stuff has been going on for decades and decades. Traces back to the godfather of propaganda, who would be Bernays, Edward Bernays, Sigmund Freud's nephew. Todd will know. Very interesting history. Okay, now, so I went to, but we've got to start stepping this up, because the effort to get rid of anybody, discredit anybody, call them names, you've seen varieties of those things that have come out through time. Remember the Facebook stuff? This is all chess game you got to play. But if you play your cards right, you can get rid of a lot of them. But now's the time to start stepping things up. So I spoke the other day about, I think we should start already on the next march. And I was advised Halifax on the 18th at the RCMP headquarters would be a very good idea. I think it is a very good idea. I think perhaps the administrators of the Facebook group might want to look into that and start organizing it and see what kind of demand that you're going to get. Because we'll look at why this is concerning in one level here right now. So what did I do? I did a search here for Bible Hill, and now the easiest way for me to find that, of course, is Terra, just because I wanted to, and not that. One second, please. One moment, please. Now, so I put in the search, Terralong Bible Hill. I'm not trying to cite anybody out in particular. It's just that her name was mentioned, right? Obviously. So let's start there, and then, because you never know what you're going to get. What will they call it? A rally, a march, a protest? I don't know. But, this is a good way to put, you can put people's names in there. You can put Charlene in there, obviously, and some other family members that shall be unnamed at this point. Now, there's this article here, Chronicle Herald. So when I go to click on it, this article was written, afternoon, country mama. We got Ashley also in here. Hello. When you click on this article, this is a paid article. Okay, it's behind a paywall. So you have to open it in, I'm not going to say how, and then you can get it for free, kind of. Oops. Oh, there we go. That's not working now. Interesting. Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry. That would be why, of course, because I'm already in that place. Now, this article was written when? When do we have it written? It was written, I'll tell you when it was written. It was written 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago it was published? Yes, 2 days ago, right? On the 18th? 2 days. 2 days. What does it do? Oh, it kicks you to the home page. Why does it kick you to the home page? Because the article has been deleted. That's why. That's really problematic. Do you know that other articles on other things still remain? So you can do this. You can do cached version. Okay? This will only work for a short period of time until this is removed from the DNS, which is the library basically that the internet uses. Once something is scrubbed from the DNS, then it's kind of poof, permanently gone. This article will be permanently gone very fast, but if you click on the cached version, you'll get, of course, because I've used up my articles, you'll get this warning. And then this. So I can open it up somewhere else. Here's the march, the film that they took. Somebody did and shared with them. I don't know if Saltwire does that, which maybe we should watch actually before it goes poof. We should get a permanent record of it. That would be good. I believe I shared the audio. Actually, let me kick this and make sure I did. Excuse me. Got to have permanent records of this stuff because it does go poof. And they want it to go poof. That's the thing.
Over 200 people marched to the RCMP detachment in Bible Hill on Sunday afternoon. They were there to remember the 22 people and unborn baby who were killed in last year's mass shootings in Nova Scotia. Tara Long, the sister of one of the victims, explains why it was important to be there.
Yeah, because we can't forget what happened here a year ago. We can't forget that we were all let down big time. And We need people to be accountable. You can't just not do what you're supposed to do and then, or even worse, do things you're not supposed to do and then end up getting paid to do another job. These poor people and us and our family, our whole province is broken. And none of it's going to get changed until everybody acknowledges what happened.
To all of those who have been there in our family's darkest hours, night after night, for hours, you listened to us, but you still always answered our calls, or you just stood in silence and held our hands. A hug or just a look that meant the world to us. We will never forget each one of you that so lovingly helped us through this year from hell. Our families are just so overjoyed to be able to live in our small but beautiful, caring communities that we do, where strangers and neighbors have stepped up to help us fight for justice and for our 23 loved ones that were murdered that weekend. There are no words that can describe the love you have shown to our families in so many powerful ways.
Now, it's good to get a record of this. I did archive this. Let's see if I can get that. The video, however, I can probably try and use the inspect tool and maybe download or do a screen record. I think Dear does screen record as well, so it might be good to have that. Now, or those of you who have capabilities in that area. Let's go, where was it here? Radio. Here we go. So, I had the window open, of course, because I have many windows open all the time. Here was the original article with the original logo, written by Chelsea Gould. I believe we read through it in an upcoming March, mark the 1-year anniversary. So this then got updated, right? Because this is the old version. I believe I read through it the other night. And that morphs into this version, which was the version that we were just looking at. Okay. And more than 200 people gathered at the Foodland parking lot in Bible Hill on Sunday, smiling as they saw each other, enjoyed coffee served from a truck tailgate, but also shedding tears as they grieved the 22 people and unborn baby killed in last year's attacks in Nova Scotia. They walked, led by Tara Long, sister of Aaron Tuck, who was killed with partner Jolene Oliver and daughter Emily Tuck. At one point, Long stopped along the sidewalk to embrace two older women who had come, who were watching in tears. Family and community members marched along Pictou Road to the nearby Colchester County RCMP detachment. They have unanswered questions about what happened 1 year ago when friends and relatives were killed by the gunman posing as an RCMP officer. Those with connections to the victims had red roses and victims' names, with victims' names to the an RCMP officer. The roses were placed at the base of a pole flying a Canadian flag. And there we actually have the face, right? From the municipality of Colchester, Councillor Tom Taggart read a statement from the victims' families, and Councillor Marie Benoit read out the victims' names. Beautiful. 23 beautiful souls were stolen from us in the blink of an eye. Our lives were changed forever, read Taggart. Our families will mourn these loved ones forever. But one of the things we will always remember and cherish is how much good and love came out of this tragedy. You have shown it to us. RCMP officers welcomed Long and provided a speaker and microphone. Very good. She thanked them and the crowd, saying she wished she had met they had met at a barbecue rather than because of horrific events of last year. Quote, everyone has lost something, at least something. We're all here together, Long said to the crowd. Please make sure if you see someone struggling or you think that someone might be struggling, reach out to them. We can't leave anyone behind because we've all been left behind. Long believes there needs to be accountability from the RCMP authorities. A year ago, we can't forget that we were all let down big time, she said, prior to the march. And we all need people to be held accountable. Our province is broken, and none of it is going to get changed until everyone acknowledges what happened and points fingers. I don't understand how someone can just go on a shooting spree for 13 hours. This is mismarked, which funnily enough was corrected because Kendall is named, where this is, of course, Charlene walking with Tara. Wow. It's hard to look at that picture. Sarah Jolamore attended, I hope I have the pronunciation right, attended with her family. Her 16-year-old son was Emily Tuck's boyfriend, and her children loved Tuck like a sister. Quote, there are so many unanswered questions that we all deserve, said Jolamore, who remembers the girl who would hunt and work on dirt bikes with her husband and son. Emily was only 17. She was the youngest one beside the baby that passed. She had her whole life. She had such a bright future. And we have a picture of her, and she's hugging a friend. Obviously, deeply emotional. The march was, of course, for everybody, and more for some people than others. But it's emotional to everybody. To the RCMP detachment in Bible Hill, Sunday, April 18th, Joel Moore's teenage son was Emily Tuck's boyfriend. Emily Tuck was one of the people killed in last year's shooting. Last July, a similar march from the grocery store to the RCMP detachment demanded a public inquiry. It was led by Nick Beaton, husband of Kristen Beaton, a continuing care assistant who was pregnant when she died in the attacks. Following public pressure, the federal and provincial governments agreed to a provincial inquiry. Families have also filed a class action against the RCMP. The shooting and arson rampage covered more than 150 kilometers, with people killed in Portapique, Wentworth, Debert, and Shubenacadie area. The gunman evaded police until he was shot dead in Enfield. Residents in some of those communities woke up on the morning of April 19th, 2020, not knowing that there was a gunman on the loose and that neighbors were dead. COVID-19 prevented people from getting together to mourn last year. Gathering is still limited to a degree as the pandemic continues. On Saturday, Oliver's sister, Tammy Oliver McCurdy, organized a rally in Calgary, where Oliver grew up, to also remember the victims and to ask for accountability. Now, it has been corrected. But the thing is, Kendall, I believe this article has gone poof. Do you have a link? Because if I search for this article, I'm not going to get it. Search with, here it is here, right? There's two links to it. There's both the same one. We'll click on it and boom, homepage. So unless I'm wrong, which I obviously can well be, this article has disappeared in 2 days. However, when I was doing some searching, of course, let's just take something else. Is it, here we go, okay. We have this article, anniversary event, remembering Nova Scotia victims coming to Truro. There are 0 issues. Okay, so they created a new link. Is that it? They created a new link? Because this is the only article that actually lists that actually discusses the march, to the best of my knowledge, in its entirety. All the other articles, which we can have a quick flip through, discuss these other events that took place. No, the link is original and I will send it to you. Why is it not opening for me then? Okay. Let's see here. I mean, it's not working on my end. One moment, please. Okay, so they've changed it. Interesting. Okay, why have they changed it then? What's different about this article? So there is another one. Why have they changed it? The title is different. So let's have a look at why. It's also premium content. So here's the new article. Red Roses and Names. March to RCMP detachment remembers lives lost in Nova Scotia mass shooting. Posted a day ago. Okay. More than 200 people gathered at the Foodland parking lot in Bible Hill Sunday, smiling as they each saw each other. I believe the video is still the same. 1 minute, 50 seconds. Not meaning any disrespect, just checking. Okay, it looks to be the same. Enjoying coffee at the tailgate, led by Tara Long. Okay, we have some different pictures now. Those with connections to the victims handed red roses with victims' names to an RCMP officer. Roses were later placed at the base of a pole flying a Canadian flag. That's different. A year ago, we can't forget, all let down big time, she said, prior to the march, and we need people to be held accountable. Charlene. Interesting. All right. Well, then I'm going to archive this article. Also, it's interesting that they would remove the other one, but maybe that's just something else. The sheer absence of articles on this story, though, but like I said, we can plug through it and you're going to see a consistent pattern, which I can get into some other stuff, which I really don't want to. How many of you had the chance to watch the memorial ceremony. Is that what it's called? Memorial ceremony? Anybody have a chance to watch that? Oh, okay. Excellent. Sorry. Oh, cheap cigarettes. Okay. Thanks, Albion Patterns. Excellent. Pontificate. Knowing definitions of words important when discussing big words. Now, looks like photos have been updated. Article so far. Title change. It could just be a DNS thing. However, we're going to archive that article just to be on the safe side here. Also, however, oh no, they left it behind a premium wall. Which, why are we leaving this behind a premium wall? Is this, do you have to pay to get this news? At the church, yes. Oh, well, we can welcome Albion. He seems like a winner. Chicken dinner. So I'll drop the new archive link in when we go. Now, let's go over to, I think Albion might have ulterior motives, possibly. Now, if we do the search again, it's not to single anybody out. I'm not sure why you stopped by then. But they were here before. Maybe they just stumbled, fell. Okay, so they're hiding that one behind a paywall as well. Then we had the global one we reviewed. And of course, you get what's going on here. The 1-year anniversary with Justin Trudeau. Okay. And you'll get mentioned. This is the thing I want people to see. Lots of these articles and things like that go into other places. This one we went through, I believe. Where's this one? A different one. Okay, we got into Bergerman and Bergerman's mask mission. I believe we went through this. And of course, then we have the link to the memorial and the marathon. Frankly, has nothing to do with the price of tea in China, but does it? Yes, of course it does. CBC. Why? What purpose do you think the other one serves? Nova Scotia memorials mark first anniversary of shootings. Tragedy has weighed heavily on Nova Scotians, remain unanswered. Okay. Honoring victims last year's killing with memorial race special ceremony, moment of silence. Okay. We're talking about running, and then, how this is community and strength and running. And then we go into the story, more into the story. And, well, that has no mention. Aha. So that's been scrubbed. Oh, no, sorry. Let me continue. Nova Scotia remembers legacy. Okay, continuing on. Runners, continuing on. families, okay. Each mile running. Okay, we got the name of whoever won the race. Good stuff. Decided to run the marathon to express his sympathies. I'm not hearing anything about justice in any of this one. Notice that? More about running, draw strength, running. Proceeds of the race will, of course, will go to the memorial, permanent memorial, which will be years in the making. And we go down into Premier and Rankin, still talking about Rankin, pictures of the busy. We got Trudeau, pandemic, flowers, and then you get this. Do you know how far people read generally? There's lots of studies on how far people read. Okay, so the people who want answers, where do you go? You go to the back of the line. Why? Why do you think that is? Do a search on Nova Scotia Legacy. Do you know how many hits you're going to get? We can try. So you have some, oops, actually I should have done this. I think I've already done that, but You're Not Alone, memorial service, okay, Canadian Press, lone bagpiper to the church, First United Church, Trudeau, of course, who organized the one at the church, right? Who organized all of that? Do you know who organized it? You have to know by this point in time. You have to know by this point in time who really organized that, right? Because you know when you're displaced from your home, crashing on your friend's couch as your neighbors and friends have died all around you, you're setting up websites, organizing vigils, and you know all these people, of course, these famous artists and the prime minister. Logic? Flawed, majorly. Let's continue. Still goes on. Races. We have the mention of Wayne and his beautiful sculpture. And it is. Had some difficulties finding a place for it. The anniversary was also marked at the RCMP detachment nearby by Bible Hill, where some protesters posted their dismay with the Mounties' response in Canada. In one of, okay, that's a misnomer. One of, it is the worst mass killing, mass murder in Canadian history. Tara Long's sister of Aaron Tuck, one of the victims, says she's still struggling how somebody could go on a shooting spree for 13 hours. Our province is sad. Shouldn't be able to happen here. Before the march began under darkened skies, Sarah Gillimore and her family was close to one of the victims, said she attended the march to remember lost lives and call for transparency from the police. There are still so many unanswered questions that we all deserve to know. We need to know, we need to work better and do just, to do better and just be better. Excellent. Wow. That's very noble. It's a lot better than the dialectical behavioral therapy, staying present stuff. Those of you who aren't familiar with dialectical behavioral therapy, that might not make sense, but a certain person is using a lot of that. Still so many unanswered. Nova Scotia RCMP, and then there we go. That's the mention. That's it. Oh, sorry. My apologies. That. Okay? You seeing a pattern? You pontificate? Excellent. Okay. Not alone. Memorial service. Shootings. Same thing. Canadian Press. This is probably the same article. Yep. Same article. Okay. And that's about that. Let's try March, Bible Hill. CP24, that's the same article, right? Canadian Press. We actually have his name. They're going to tell you. They're going to tell you his name this time. It's Brett Bundale wrote that article. They don't like to tell you sometimes. They just want to hide. Brett. Then we've got that wonderful piece, which we'll get to here in a moment. And Halifax Today, that's going to be Canadian Press. Same thing, buried very deep in the article. Okay. This is all from summertime. Let's actually just narrow that search down here. Custom range. Let's do, we'll do it like this. How's that? We've already read the CBC. It's just a picture. That's going to be another picture. CTV, which I heard didn't cover anything really at all. This is summertime, so not a reference. This is just a hyperlink. So you see what I'm saying? There's nothing. There's nothing. April 2020. Only the one reference. Why is that not highlighting? It's weird. Can't heal if we don't have answers, said Charlene. Let's see here. My apologies. The spontaneous memorial erupted soon after the 22 murders a year ago this weekend. So no mention really. It's all the same. Now, let's try. Marathons. These are all different articles by and large, too. Oh, my. How many pages? Memorial Race, Toronto Sun. Do you see? We're going to talk about that. Yes. Yes, Kendall. They did. Okay, 7 pages. Now, French. 6 pages. There's a very... This is all logic. How many things do you have to use to distract from seeking answers, which is logical? I was explaining it this morning to a family member. You have narrative that's constructed and written. You have groups motivated for whatever reasons. You have websites, Facebook pages, social blade that. I don't think you're going to come up with a real score. If you can, I don't think you can, but I can definitely get things. There's so many tactics on how to suppress a story, how to keep people from fighting for the truth. Some of you in here know exactly what I'm talking about. Nobody can read those articles because they're paid, so lots of people can't even see them. However, you're going to see the rest of that in French, English. It's going to be all over TV. It was all over TV. Everybody who knows that knows that other events that took place were mass publicized. How do you think that was arranged? Is it just because they have very good PR firms? Kind of like the law firms and accounting firms that stepped in right away. Law firm, charitable status, etc., etc., etc. You know, when people die around you, you're able to go through the shock like that. When you're displaced, I'll relate a story. That's personal. So the flood happened. The flood here in Calgary displaced my mother and destroyed everything that all of our family history, which is not insignificant. Anyways, so, and it was my mom's home for, what, I don't know, 40 some years. Now, it's obviously not in the same ballpark, but she was in shock, and she dealt with flood before. But it really did something to her, and I remember she came and stayed with me, and she was in shock. She couldn't do anything, really, for a long time. And the next questions, of course, that came to her mind when she was in a better state were, how do I, when can I go home? How do I get home? How do I get back to my place and see what's there? Is my home being protected while, this is all going on? Are there police there? Many different things, insurance companies, et cetera, right? So that's what people do. There's an order of things. Shock. You can't set up websites. Most people can't anyways, let alone two. You can't retain law firms to set up a memorial and bursaries within a period of days. You're couch surfing. Your neighbors are scattered to the wind all over the place because they're equally couch surfing and in shock because their friends and neighbors have died. I certainly don't think you have pull with Natalie McMaster, Rankin, and other people who participated in that Trudeau have all the time slots put aside for you, everything, unless that's all very highly orchestrated from way up above. Again, I showed the website. The website proves that. The picture of 16 dead means that they had started this process way in advance, so far in advance that families hadn't even identified bodies. Do you know how far in advance? That's right. Lillian was identified on the 20th, meaning the day of. I don't know if I could function the day of. Not sure how many people could. But you can organize a vigil. Meanwhile, on the other end, you've got RCMP, the other end of government stuff, because it was organized by the government. You've got charities firing up. You've got Nova Scotia government who sets up Nova Scotia Strong. You've got books. You've got T-shirts. You've got all of it coming out, which is a whole huge veil to hide people from, do you ask questions? You have I know what it is. Speaking about it, though, is extraordinarily divisive. And I don't want to divide. Don't look here, a shield. Shields were used. The introduction of two pertinent individuals that were lofted above the 23. Of the 23, two certain individuals. Do you guys know who the two certain individuals were? Just out of mild curiosity. Oh, sorry. That's not good. Hope you're feeling better. That doesn't sound good at all. Two certain individuals. Yep. There you go. Is there a relationship between individuals here? Oh. So if you use two people, right? Heidi, Jenny, right? Not attacking. People can be used pawns. I'm going to go with that one. Don't ask questions, because of course in life we don't ask questions of people who are in grief. You never do. But are there anybody saying questions over there? No. The government entity at the top of all this wants people to run around, listen to music. Those events are interesting to watch. Very. At this point in time, I'm not going to get into any of that. But somebody with a discerning mind who watches it, there are questions that arise. Does anybody know how many people were in attendance, first of all, for the run? I've heard some numbers bantered about. Somebody did actually have a reference. I'm still looking for it. So I don't want to quote it because I can't. No, Macaulay and Kierstead are sisters. She was thrown out in the media right away. How much should I go? I don't know. I can give lots of evidence to support what I'm saying. But as I said, it's very divisive, and I don't want to do that. 22 is another one. 22, very important. The divisive lines were thrown down right at the beginning. You ask questions, this is what's going to happen to you. Right? We all know. Oh, I probably shouldn't show that one. My mistake. Why am I having difficulty locating? Locating. Lots of other material they throw in. Humboldt, always, and Polytechnique has surfaced tons. Even the gun narrative now, they're throwing that one in there, saying, oh, this is why we did that. It's because of the gun narrative. Even the government is stipulating that at this point in time. That's alarming. This is how far they're going down. Before they were like, no. That was, no. Now they're actually saying, yes, we were just waiting for this event to happen. Really? Okay, this is what happens. Has this changed? Nope. Has not. Still vilify. You vilify. That one's public. You don't have to pay for it. Or do you? Actually, sorry, my apologies. I think you do. Yes, you do. My apologies. So that is behind a paywall, but it's national. Let's vilify, say some things that are definitely untrue, provably, demonstrably false, liable. This borderline's on liable, legally. Paint pictures which are endangering motherhood, etc. Paints a very dirty picture of somebody. Why? because she stands up. That's what you do. You run, you stand up, you're going to get beat down. What do? 1, 2. 1, 2. 30s. Yeah, okay. So if you can send me the source for that, I would love to see it, Linda. Let me see if I can find that. I'll do a key. I'll just search that. Actually, I don't. Yeah, here. You can link it now if. Here we go. Thank you. Ah, so it is in this article. Excellent. My apologies. Now, there was other events. That took place, so the number is higher than that. I think there was a 5-kilometer event and a walk. You block off the entire week. I wasn't even going to ever say anything about this group at all until I could see the writing on the wall when I saw the announcements coming down of what that was, and I heard how much true involvement was really going on. It wasn't to say I wasn't aware of the group. Well, certainly I was, and the connections, which I've gone through. But does that compare to the number of family members who were actually in attendance at Bible Hill who said, listen, we want answers. It's almost like that statement. Made by Blair and Fury saying, we know this is what the families want in respect to the inquiry, but we don't care, really. It's not what they said verbatim, but they said, we know what's best. Excuse me? Who do you think really deserves answers? Do you think Fury gets to go home to his family? What about Blair? Sure. Those families don't. All those memories, everything is gone. The review, that was another piece. What better way to hide the truth than to craft up something that takes you months legally to come up with, because that would be very difficult. Try and finagle a way around that one so you don't have to subpoena people. They never have to come if they don't want to. When they do come, they don't have to tell the truth. And you can issue whatever report whenever you want. When you have a perfectly reasonable alternative, the inquiry. I believe you can also do possibly a royal commission, but I'm not super familiar on that one. So it took them months and months to dream up that one. They've got plans in the back pocket. So then as soon as the families are like, no, we are not happy with that, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we just found this thing. Where was it here? Oh, right, this inquiry thing. Whoosh. 9 days? Was it 9 days, I think? Not even that. You slant the inquiry, just as you did the review, whatever that balls was. Totally feminist thing. 100% governed by people who have some very interesting connections and have involvement with other groups in the story. It's a very complicated game. But it's not a game when you're talking about people's lives, memories, questions. Those of you who, luckily, we're not in that position, but many of us have had friends who have committed suicide. There's always lingering questions. You want to know why. You have to know why. You can't stay in an endless loop of grief. Nobody would ever advise you that. Please stay in this grief. Run around. It's okay. No, they're going to say, you want to talk about it. You got to talk about it. There's a certain article that references that somewhere. Certain interviews that were done. I'm not saying that three free sessions. There's another one. Cars flying down the street, white cars. Do you not see destruction of uniforms? The uniform concoction. When in fact it was real uniforms. You don't need to go and burn RCMP uniforms. You need to go after the people who supplied them. And you know, because the ITOs say at least one. Why don't you go after that person? No, can't do that. There is. And this is why family should be in charge of this stuff. Fuck the politicians. No shit. You don't need the shit involved because the shit is just garbage. There's another one. All these pieces. And of course, the press. Oh my Lord. All of you who know this story know. Anybody who asks questions, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Excuse me, come and prove to me exactly what conspiracies I have floated that I have said are not, I haven't prefaced by saying there's a possibility or there's a strong likelihood. I don't say any definites. Do you know who does say definites? The fucking people who write the story. The one that we all read and buy. There's nothing that's been proven. Prove it to me and I'll believe it. I don't believe the word of people who are on trial. I'm sorry. It just kind of, their credibility is tanked, especially when they've been questioned under caution. That doesn't work very well for me. Trying to save their own ass and all of their money. And they turn around and sue estates. What are you talking about? Buy a property. How about that one? Bury it. How about the backhoes? How about the cars getting towed? How about the crime scene investigation and how quickly that all took place? How about that? But no, run around. Everything's fine. Watch a music video. No. Brain's still working somewhere. Even people who are not at a place that they are seeking the answers currently. And many people have been in that position before. Will want them because they'll wake up one day and they'll be like, I want to understand why this happened. Or somebody's child will come to them and they'll say, well, what really went on? Why is this person gone from my life? You know, just using that as an example, because that's the way we all work. There is a cycle of grief. There is anger. Anger is directed at certain key parties, which are obviously involved. You don't go off and displace anger somewhere entirely different. which has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. This is not an attack. It's not. It is what's going on. Why? Why? Charities? Why? Why is money needed? Memorial isn't going to... Yes, exactly. Families need to be in charge of everything. Sweeping it under the rug doesn't get rid of it. Tara's right. And yet they want that. They want to give a little bit of mention here, maybe bury it beneath all of the rest of the please don't ask questions do, if you're going to get anything. There were estimates. 200 is low. I've heard 400. 400. Does that match up to 30 plus 20? That's 50. And the 20 is something that can be looked at. But I'm not going to do that today. This puts me in a precarious position. I work my hardest not to offend anybody, but it's a fine line to walk, and they stick you in that. Well, if you mention that, then you're attacking women. I'm not attacking fucking women, though I did notice my subscriber rate has now dipped below 70% women. I don't attack women. I love women. I was raised in a family of all women. Kind of be a lonely guy if there wasn't women. Now, do I play this article? Do I play this video? I'll play it. I'll play it. Why? Because it's public knowledge. I'll let you decide what you think. Where the fuck is it? Oh, yes. Wrong account. You know how you are. You know what experiences you've lived through. You would know how you would feel if the roles were reversed. And thank God they're not. Excuse me? It's interesting. Maybe it's gone now. Just was watching it. I'm going to go with no. I must have misplaced it. Excuse me?
With their own.
Three days. 3 days. Okay? Different people, I understand different people, but there's a line in here. There's one line. just do with it what you want. Think about it what you want. I'm not saying anything, but think about it if it's the roles are reversed. Let's just put it that way. And you can't. Thank goodness.
These are the photos of the victims so far, each one with their own story, each one leaving friends and loved ones to mourn, like Lisa McCulley, who was killed on Saturday in Portapic, and she is being remembered as a loving mother, a passionate school teacher. Lisa McCulley was also a musician, so here is some of Lisa playing her ukulele. We've reached out to Lisa McCulley's sister, Jenny Kierstead, and she is in Halifax. Jenny, the ukulele makes me smile. What about for you, those memories of your sister?
Yeah, we grew up in a musical home, so she played every instrument, and she was just full of life when she played music.
How challenging is it to try to focus on those really positive memories in a time when you could be so angry and so hurt?
Yeah, the anger, the blame, it's part of the grief process, but I'm trying to stay focused on just doing the work of being present to the feelings that are here and saying goodbye. I wrote her obituary yesterday, and it was one of the hardest things I could ever do.
Can you share with me the words you used, some of the key words in that obituary?
Yeah, I think the phrase, to know Lisa was to know life in full color. Yeah.
You know, there are some people who walk into a room and everybody turns because they are that life in the room, if you will. Was that your sister?
Yeah, that was her. Yeah, yeah. And that's why it's such loss, because she was such a bright light.
You talk about the anger being part of the grieving process. What is in your heart when it comes to the anger?
It wasn't her time. She had so much to contribute. She was the best mom I'd ever known. And, you know, her kids are not the only kids affected by this, and they're going to struggle. And it's so unnecessary. And I think my main anger point right now is the lack of monitoring of violent images on our screens. I think that we can all, as a society, take from this and be way more careful about the violence that we consume through images.
You know, I think
it does make a difference.
I think that's a broad discussion, and I'm sure it will happen. Yeah. What discussions, however, are you having right now with her children to help them cope?
Just reassuring them that this will never happen again, that they are safe and surrounded by love, and we've received thousands of messages, and they're receiving that.
You know, there's a certain innocence in being a child that you think mom and dad are going to be around forever, and I just find it really hard to understand how you tell somebody that it was before their time, and that's just what you have to deal with.
Yeah, there's a lot of natural protective mechanisms in place, and it's so good that, you know, it sinks in gradually more and more, and we're just going day to day.
When the wave comes of your own grief, and I know you have to be strong for those in your family who are around you, especially those who are younger. How do you deal with it yourself?
Yeah, thanks for asking. You know, I know a lot about trauma treatment and mindfulness, and so I'm using those techniques. I'm anchoring myself into the earth. I'm stroking my own face and rubbing my neck and surrounding myself with connection and drinking warm tea and cozying up with soft blankets. So all of that, I'm just being really gentle. I'm moving slowly and just trying to breathe, but not too deeply because there's a lot of feeling.
Jenny, I hope you're feeling the embrace of the country. I think Canadians from coast to coast to coast are trying to show their support for you, for the people of Nova Scotia, and getting through this. In your cocooning, are you feeling that? And I wonder if you have a message for Canadians.
Oh, we are. And I think that from this act of violence, we all need to rise with, Lisa taught in her classroom virtues like kindness, compassion, respect, and patience. And that's exactly what our Canadian community needs right now.
I want to thank you for sharing your memories, and I wish you strength.
Thank you.
Jenny Kierstead is the sister of Lisa McCulley.
You take away from it what you think. Could just be shock, could just be me. I have mountains of stuff on this, which doesn't paint a very good picture in terms of where's this apex coming from. The companies, the charities, the websites, the Facebook, the stories told, dog stories, a lot of emotional manipulation. But if my sister is dying, murdered, I don't think I'm going to be mad. Murdered. Maybe somewhere along the line I might be mad at the TV. But I'll tell you, my fingers are going to point fast and hard on this one. Other directions. First and foremost, probably would be at Mr. Wardman. Right? I can't dictate how people are in grief. It's not my job. I don't know. Different people grieve different ways. The book, 22. Says nothing, 22 stories. 22. Always 22. 22 was the tell before. Now they're kind of wavering on that one. Given, we're and I don't know. I can't say because I'm not everybody. I don't have everybody's mind. I don't have everybody's emotional disposition. But I've seen a few people. I've been through a few things in my life, and I don't think I've ever seen that kind of stuff. But again, it's all a matter of stuff. But nowhere over in that corner, that I have found, and I have interviews, radio stuff. I've watched a lot of things for over a year, over a year now. Is there anything to do with who or why? I have evidence actually that speaks quite the opposite. Blatantly. Don't. Please. which coming from certain people in the story is very interesting, because those are the very people who would say, ask questions. They would certainly understand the grieving process, which one of them, funnily enough, is anger. And when you're angry, that's totally normal. Or to have questions, or to, what was the statement? I read it this morning to a family member, and they saw it loud and clear then. You don't ever tell somebody that you shouldn't talk about what happened. Never. No. I can't see any way that that can be justified. People need to talk. They need to go through their stuff. They need to get it out so that it doesn't boil or reside within them. And talk about Injustice Collector, another scheme that may or may not be true, but has not been proven, not documented. We just have words from some people who honestly are not telling the truth, provably have proven themselves to be dishonest. How long do you believe people who lie to you? The media lies, that is certain. The media suppresses, that is for certain. The RCMP lie, that is for certain. And they suppress. The courts suppress. They fight to keep the truth from you. This does not add up. They will spend tens of millions. I have no idea. They will falsify evidence. They will destroy evidence. They will have reviews. They will dream up narratives. People come out of woodwork, disappear. Connections between people. Unbelievably scary how people are connected. Hit on button issues, dogs, feminine violence. What? Has nothing to do with it. Let's talk about the issue at hand. The very one that they want to keep from you. And if you talk about it, oh my God, be prepared for a shitstorm. But you never get anywhere if you just curl up in a ball. All people do is kick you around. And then it's going to, sadly, like Tammy so eloquently said, this is bound to repeat if you don't fix the problem. The problem is what did happen on 1819 and what happened prior. And that's it. Not runs, not dogs, not feminine violence, not reviews, not books, none of it. None of it. Not disinformation, not mass propaganda, not wheat in the wind, not TV images. No. For a dead man, this is honestly still what they run with. Who has an Injustice Collector, who pre-planned, who didn't pre-plan, who snapped, who fairy trees and balls, just all balls. because you know you have your life experience, you have great brains, and it totally is a cognitive dissonance that they throw out there, muddled with disinformation, tapes. How much more? How much more? Think about that process. These people were sitting in a war room on the 19th. No fucking kidding. Written statements. We're not answering questions. You got to leave. Get out of here. You're my employee. You owe me. And you owe those families. No. In this case, Kendall, enough is enough. They've had enough. They've done it enough to enough people. This is over. Over. And it's not just in this story. Look at how people are sick and tired of being the propaganda used on them from all kinds of different stories. The downvoting of stuff versus upvoting, the censorship of the internet, the monitoring of stuff. What the fuck, man? I was saying to the family member today, you know what I miss? I miss kind of things like crazy things. Like old style KFC. How about that? Tastes good. What the fuck was wrong with it? Not to get off topic. But the world was definitely broken then. It is certainly in the toilet now. And it's only going worse. Yes. And why do you have to have this perpetrated on you? That's trauma. I do. I don't come from a place of like just ramble. I am a big person who thinks, puts myself in shoes. I will drive the car. I will go there. I will do that. I put myself in people's shoes. I use experience. I ask people questions. What would you do? And then I come up with an opinion, and I preface it with that. But I think it's fairly well based. I use evidence. But I'll tell you, if my sister is getting killed, murdered, I'm moving hell, earth, everything. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm not sitting back and saying, don't ask. It's just so far from my comprehension. And I wouldn't say to other people, don't ask. And the media utilizes this because they're part of that. They're so much part of that. I am, frankly, I have seen some comments about this. This has to stop. This has not altered. This is not altered at all. There is one letter written by one person on this tweet. I'm going to drop the link in there. Please. We've got to get that out of there, because what does it do? It's not just about protecting Tara, because if it's any goddamn family member, I'll tell you, I'm going to come in swinging. You don't treat people that way. And they need a serious spanking. Get yourself together. But it's what it represents. You stand up, 400 of you, we're going to spank you. Screw off. Bring it. I want to see comments. I want to see comments. The information is still below. I want phone calls. I said I was going to come on air and sent an email. Thank you. Because I want that gone. Because if it happened to Charlene, I'll guarantee you, if it happened to Nick, whomever, people I talk to, people I don't talk to, I'm going to come. And we all need to come. And we need to come heavy. Heavy. Peaceably, but heavy. And in force. Hashtag it. Yep. Yes, she is. She's a figurehead. That's what she is in this case. I'm not even going to start on that. I'm not even going to start on that. I'm not going to start. But you can actually, funnily enough, just put the word truth over her face, if you can envision that in your mind. Literally picture it. That's how you treat truth. No, you don't. You embrace truth. This is our society. This is what we want for any of the 23. Anybody in this story. Somebody down the street. We have to have it. The only way we get that is if we stand up and do something. We're not armchair quarterbacks. And the show, that is a direct disrespect to everybody. The 400, to what I heard is the number, 400 people, which is way larger, not reported. Not only is it underreported, it's basically not reported. And when it is reported, it's slandered. That is a slap in the face to every single person who stood out there in the inclement weather, drove there. Elderly people, kids who walked and said, no, please don't treat us like that. We are human beings just like you. Don't do it. We want to rally with you, being the RCMP, the good ones. We want to stand behind you. We want to support you. Please support us. Please help these people. I remember once a long time ago, I was part of something, and it was a Twitter campaign, and it was good. And these are the kinds of things we've got to ratchet this one up. I had a phone call from somebody who really has been helping. And they went and they took 23 roses down to their local detachment and left them at the flagstaff. Carefully placed them, paired them, everything. That's the way it's done. Got balls. Big balls. And I'm sure there were others. On the 18th, we've got to have another one. And another one. And another one. This kind of crap can't stay. It's not true. You know it to be not true. Many of you have met Tara. You understand who she is. You could put yourself in her shoes. Some of you are family members. You don't want it happening to you. We have to rally together on this one. There is nothing wrong with standing up and telling the truth. And speaking aloud, peaceably. To have a better world for us all. For those kids. For those families. For their friends. For yourself. We can do this. We are doing it. It's slow, and their machine, it's a machine. And when that veil comes off, and you see it for its infinite horror, because it is horror, it becomes very crystal. I'm not saying everything I say is right. I'm not. I would never be so bold about anything. You all work really hard. Right? You all work really hard. 400 people took time out of their day. Just people organizing grassroots because you know what? We don't have the ability to fire up websites. TV programs. Carefully timed on certain days. Before victims are even identified. Before even some victims are found. Scary, really scary. Get you off into all kinds of other things. Oh, look at Polytechnique. Oh, look at gun bans. Oh, look at, no, 18, 19, what happened before? What was your involvement? Period. Prove it. Let's see it. Whatever it is. Come forward, tell the truth. We're all going to make do with what we can. Everybody's got stuff. Everybody's got stuff. Who cares? Move along. The longer that you let that fear weaponize you, because you become part of the problem then. Silence is complicity. It's not good to feel that way. I much prefer, you want to talk about love? Look at those pictures of people hugging one another, crying. That's grief. That's healthy. Having it run around inside of you isn't. That actually goes against the whole, I don't know, injustice collector and all that other nonsense. Speaking about our stuff, being honest with one another. I'm not saying everybody needs to go around and advertise their stuff on billboards. They don't. Don't need to lie, though. It just goes further down the tubes. And there'll be another, and another, and another, and another, and another. And even though it sickens me to say that, that happens to be the truth. Every time people are like, well, this will be the last one. Sounds like, I don't know, World War I. The war to end all wars. Fuck off, man. You don't learn. We are not learning here. We, collectively. But we are. And that scares them. We know how to be truthful. If you don't do dirty things, you don't have anything to be ashamed of. If you do dirty things, you ask for forgiveness. You don't do them again. That's it. It's easy. It's a real easy process. Betterment. You don't become dumbed down, numb, insular to yourself. I don't trust anybody. I don't know. Become wise. Watch. See what people's motives are. Question things. Anyway, I don't want to take up your day with what? Pontificating. And I certainly don't wish to come down on anybody. I want the right thing. And I always encourage, like I was saying, there's pieces I leave. Please don't, you can do it. Every time. I say that a lot. You'll hear me. I communicate in a very certain fashion. I can spill dirt. Does that help anybody? People can do the right thing that they know inside and just say, no, I'm not going to be a part of that. I don't want to be. I want to do the right thing. I want to stand up because I want better. I want better for myself. I want better for my kids. I want better for my community. I want better for people I don't even know. Because that's just the right thing to do. Yeah, yes. It's. And they've, got us all locked into political things and balkanized us for however, just so long. Ugh. I don't talk out of my ass. It's very well researched, well documented. A lot of this stuff. Psychological warfare is a very real thing, and they fight it all the time. That's how they get away with their bullshit, because we're so emasculated. Oh, you're empowered. Fuck you, man. All you've done is beat us all down and traumatize everybody. And then you say to people, well, you need to be empowered. Fuck you, man. I was powerful to begin with, and definitely powerful before you came into the picture. All of you are. We're all good. We're all okay. There are definitely some bad ones out there. They need to be singled out and called out by name. Don't use the blanket. Oh, it's all of you. We're all taught, don't be racist, don't be bigoted. What do you think in a sense? Think about it this way. Calling something systemic, or it's that whole goddamn organization that is that way. No. Is that not the same principle? You're stereotyping everything. You can't fix that. You can't. You can fix yourself. You can lead by example. You can be strong. You can do the right things. You can teach your kids. And when there's something wrong, you call it out. Anyway, you hate the word emasculate? That's the way the world is. Emasculated. Holy Christ, man. Balkanized, emasculated, totally out of their minds, almost. There's mass mental illness, real mental illness. But that's not mental illness that is because we have it. It's because the world has been perpetrated. This is perpetrated upon the world by people who don't have good intentions. Get them out. I'm not talking politicians. I'm talking, you got to start small. I'm not saying, any crazy movements. I don't belong to any movements. I am an individual. That's just me. You're an individual. Usually when groups and things like that come along, very dangerous. Oh, please partner with us. Yeah, that's a stew. That's a stew. Embrace your inner ginger. I didn't know that was inherent to gingers. Anyway, I do hope that you have a wonderful day. Good to see you, Brother Paul. Be good to yourself. Take care of yourself. Reach out to people who need help. There's a lot of people hurting here. They're hurting. And lift them up. Not just with words of, I feel for you. I'm going to be there for you. You're really getting hammered here. We got to be truthful with one another too. You can't just say they're there, because that's what the world wants you to do. They're there. They're there. No. They're there, and you lift them, because many cases they're afraid too. Let them know. Don't be. It's okay. We're going to walk with you. There we go. See? That's, even though I hate, I think that's what you were saying is the word empowerment. Yeah. But that is power. That is rediscovering just who we are. Free speaking, free thinking, non-violent, generally amiable people. Just want to get along. Do take good care of one another, please. Remember, and every one of those 23, every one of them is equal. Whether it be Lisa McCauley, whether it be Heidi Stevenson, Aaron, Lillian, Joey, all the same. And it's tragic. Lots of people have been hurt. The people who saw things, the people who had to work through that, the people that have that inner turmoil, inside from not speaking up. You can let go of that. And it is as Sharon said, it is always that way. And you get that out, and you don't feel that weight anymore. God bless you all. God bless the Torah.